Hey, virtually testing community. It's Julie O'Brien, Chief Marketing Officer of AttackIQ, the security optimization platform company. We're committed to giving back to the cybersecurity community, so it should come as no surprise then that I'm delighted to be joining forces with Victor and the whole virtually testing community. We hope you enjoy the in-depth classes, hands-on lab, and cyber ranges that we'll be delivering to you as part of AttackIQ Academy, plus special demos and content from our cyber experts tailored just for virtually testing. Of course, we welcome your feedback along the way and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much and hope you enjoy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victor Monga. I am Vice Chairman of the Board for Virtually Testing. Today, I have Keith Wilson from AttackIQ with us. Keith?
Hey, yeah, nice to be here with you.
Yeah, so we invited Keith today to actually talk about our partnership with AttackIQ Academy and Virtually Testing. And one of the questions we are getting from community, why did AttackIQ started this academy? What was the inspiration behind starting this academy, and what is the mission statement?
Yeah, so we started it so quickly that I don't think we ever formalized a mission statement, but we certainly do have a mission, right? Let me go back to before the sort of COVID outbreak, because that's where kind of AttackIQ Academy came to light. But before that, we had kind of tossed around the idea of doing an academy program, and we were going to make it kind of customer and partner focused. Well, then COVID hit, and we realized that there were going to be a lot of people that wouldn't have the budget for security, but still needed security training, right? There's teams out there that needed security training. There's people out there that are looking to increase their job skills right now because they found themselves out of work. They got laid off. So we wanted to give back to the security community and create this academy. And when we first started it, we weren't really sure if we wanted to make it a product or vendor based academy where we're just kind of teaching about our stuff and breach and attack simulation, or if we wanted to make it an industry based academy. Well, quickly, we right after launching, because we had 3 courses, and one covered breach and attack simulation, one covered MITRE ATT&CK, and the other one covered purple teaming. We realized that people, although they did like the BAS class, they needed the industry classes. So we decided to make ourselves an industry-based academy, and we weren't going to teach just product. Then we had another decision: is do we make this open to just customers and partners, or do we charge for this? And again, it was, no, this is something we're doing to give back to the community, the security community, to teach these different concepts. We decided to make it free and open to the public. And really the only mission statement that I've ever been given, and that's by one of our executives, Carl Wright, who's our chief commercial officer, is keep Academy cool, right? That's the main thing that he charges me with doing, is keeping Academy cool. And part of that is keeping the content relevant and up to date and informative and not salesy, right? So we wanted to go the opposite route of what a lot of vendors do when they launch an academy program, which is, we're going to launch this for our product and there's going to be some sales interjected in it.
And that pretty much aligns with virtual testing goal. And I'm going to repeat what you said, giving back to security community. That's the important part. A lot of times we have seen some of the organizations or industries, they tend to, or they try to give it back to the community, but that's not at the end what they were able to do it, because their mission statement is get the clientele, make the sales, make the sales. That's what their goal is.
Yeah. And for that to happen, you have to have an investment, right? You have to get an investment from the executives, which I was lucky in my case, right? Before we started this recording, Victor and I were talking, and I wasn't in charge of the educational program. We didn't have an educational program before COVID, but they opened a position. I got put in that position. That costs money to staff me full time. That's something that a lot of organizations aren't willing to do, is staff somebody or multiple people full time to run a program like this. And there's other expenses. There's learning management system costs. There's we issue badges through Credly or Acclaim, as a lot of people see them. There's a cost to that. And I think a lot of the times when these programs are launched, they're launched as some sort of sales initiative, but no real sort of long-term nurture focus. How are we going to continue to sustain and maintain this program? And if the results you're looking for are just strictly sales driven, then you're less likely to invest in this if you're looking for immediate sales results.
One thing I want to highlight or ask actually from you, Keith, how do you keep Academy cool? So you said that's a mission statement. How do you keep it cool? How do you get the new content? How
Yeah.
do you get motivation for it? What's the next?
Yeah. So I mean, the number one thing, at least in my mind, right, of keeping Academy cool is new content and keeping that content relevant, because there's a saying for any sort of internet content, whether it's written blog posts or videos or Instagram posts, and that's content is king. If the content that you're putting out isn't any good, then none of this matters. When we first started, we only had kind of an idea of what the market was looking for. And a lot of that just came from conversations that we'd had with our customers of what they were looking for, lacking in education. Part of that came from our partnership with the Center for Threat Informed Defense, which is a part of MITRE Ingenuity. It's a nonprofit sort of consortium of top security researchers and vendors, right? So we had a relationship with them already, and we knew that there wasn't a ton of resources teaching MITRE ATT&CK, for instance, but it's something that you hear about in every meeting we're going into. We're hearing about MITRE ATT&CK, yet nobody really knows what it is or how to use it. So, we created a class on that. Same sort of thing with purple teaming. Different Department of Defense groups have been doing purple teaming for quite a while, but it's something that the private sector hasn't really heard of and needed guidance on. So we decided we'll do MITRE ATT&CK, and we'll do purple teaming, and we'll do a BAS class. We'll just make them all foundational, right? And we toss the BAS in there too, because, and when I say BAS, that's just short for breach and attack simulation. We sell a breach and attack simulation product. So we do in the foundational class, though, I still tried to keep it without any sales or product. We were definitely being conscious that we're not being salesy with any of the classes, even the breach and attack simulation class. So we floated those three out there, and Carl wanted to survey everybody that took a class, which was a great idea because that completed our feedback loop. Right? We're able to get feedback from the surveys that our students fill out. I can go through those and I can say, okay, it's great when people love us, and it's great for me too. I mean, it makes my scores look great. And I do pick out a lot of that stuff where I go, okay, everybody thinks we're doing this really well, so we're going to keep doing this. But I also start picking out what some might look at as negative comments. I just look at it as room for improvement. Maybe it's another course that we're missing. Maybe there's a part of an initial subject that we taught that isn't being explained enough, right? If I go back and look at test results and I see everybody's failing on the same question, obviously I didn't explain that concept well enough, and I either need to create a new class or revamp that class. So I really look for feedback from the community. We have our Informed Defenders community, which is also part of AttackIQ Academy and AttackIQ. It's really a blending of our customers, our AttackIQ Academy students, and just industry personnel. We have different discussions around AttackIQ Academy in there, and we take that feedback. So really, it's keeping it cool just comes from listening to the students. I get lots of comments and feedback on LinkedIn, and I apologize to everybody that's messaged me or tagged me and I haven't been able to respond, because I do get a lot on LinkedIn too, where I get a feel and I talk to the students and I figure out what's working and what needs improvement, and where are the gaps that we need to fill. So that's kind of half of it. And the other half is I work very closely with Carl. I brought up his name a couple times, and Carl, being our chief commercial officer, talks a lot to not only executives within the Center for Threat Informed Defense that I mentioned earlier, but security executives at all these different companies of varying sizes. So he has kind of a finger on the pulse in conversation with them on what is it that their employees or teams are missing, that we can help them fill as far as training goes, or what are they themselves missing. There's really not a ton of security leadership type classes out there either, unless you're going to get an MBA. Really just kind of it's communication with the security community, with our students, and then internally where we get together and talk about what we're hearing to try and come up with new classes and concepts.
That's the key. I think you are going the right direction where you're actually improving based on the feedback. It's not something that hit an agenda where you're pushing it to the community. You're actually listening to the community to improve, and that's the motivation for next class or the following or the academy strategy, I guess.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, not every survey, I can't do everything that everybody wants, obviously. But I definitely listen to it. I definitely look at it. And if I'm not looking at the survey results, I can tell you right now, Carl starts every day. And Carl's my boss's boss. So if we have visibility at that level of the feedback that we're getting, there's no reason I should ignore it either, right? It's important. It helps build our academy, and it really helps me grow my team as well so that we can continue to create great content.
And I'll talk about virtual testing and AttackIQ Academy partnership. So we have started this partnership in 2021 January, and our goal is to start offering AttackIQ Academy for all virtual testing members. So not only you will get attributed with virtual testing, you will get CPEs and you will get certificate of completion from virtual testing and AttackIQ co-branded. You can use that for your CPEs in order to make sure that we are amplifying for virtual testing members and making sure we're providing you a structured program. We're also doing a 10-week internship based on AttackIQ classes and trainings, where our proctors, support staff are going to make sure they are making a 10-week program where virtue testing members are going to register them. And every week we're going to have calls. We're going to actually discuss what you learn. Every week, make sure that you're going through the quizzes and passing them and getting those cool badges to show off. This is a way we're making sure our members, virtual testing members, and the community having some sort of structured framework to complete these trainings and a pathway to continue growing with it. As Keith is going to continue adding those more classes, you will have a pathway. If you complete those as part of our internship, you'll continue growing from there.
Yeah, I'm really excited about partnership too as well. Obviously I enjoy being able to give back to the security community. It sounds like you do as well, and your organization does that. So I'm really excited for us to partner up and see what we can do. And I'm really excited to see the feedback that I get from you and the people coming from virtually testing, to be part of that feedback loop.
The last thing I wanted to say, thank you to AttackIQ for allowing us to partner and making sure that virtue testing members and community can leverage their platform and AttackIQ Academy. Keith, you're doing a marvelous job. Continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Victor. Again, I look forward to seeing all the virtually testing members in AttackIQ Academy.